Okay, good afternoon. It is an afternoon, isn't it, Bethana? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And everyone, thanks for signing up to join the webinar. There's more attendees dropping in all the time. We've got a good group of people signed up for today. And we've got people who are interested both on the 5-year pathway and on the 4-year program as well. We're also going to be joined by people who are signing in on YouTube and Facebook. So we'll keep an eye on the streams there as well to see if there are any questions on there. For those that are joining us now, who are going to have questions as we go through this presentation, and before I do the introductions, then down at the bottom, you will see a Q&A feature where you can write in your questions there. And then what we'll do at the end of the presentation is we'll read all the questions out and answer them. There's 2 reasons for doing that. Number one is you guys can't see each other's questions. And the other thing as well is that this is being recorded. So anyone who's watching the recording after today will be able to listen to your questions and hear the answers. Okay, so I want to introduce Bethana Hamed. Bethana is my colleague from St. George's University in Grenada. I know she's got that beautiful picture of the main campus in Grenada, but she isn't there. She's based in London. Okay, on a day like this, actually, to be honest, we're not that dissimilar than the Caribbean, I think, at the moment. So the other thing I want to say as well is that if you've got any questions, even after today's webinar, please do fire them over. Myself and Bethana can answer them. We are processing a large number of applications, both for the 6-year program and the 5-year program and the 4-year program. So we will kind of touch on both of those. And Bethana will talk, we'll just have a presentation shortly, but we'll be telling us all about the opportunities at St. George's, but also at the campus in Northumbria, the main campus in Grenada itself, as well as the clinical placement opportunities in the UK and the USA. I'm hoping that there's a few people today who've got applications in as well, because we're processing more every week at the moment. And what we're hoping to do is by the end of well, I say the end of this month, but by the end of April, we're hoping to have most people whose applications are in, interviews arranged and offers through if they successfully negotiate the interview. Okay, so without any further ado, Bethana, I think you've got a nice presentation for us. We're not going to have a huge kind of, 2-hour webinar today. It's just going to be a short, sharp shot just to introduce people to the university and now have the opportunity to answer questions. But Bethana, I think your presentation is probably ready to go. Am I right?
Yes. Thank you very much, Ben. And yes, good afternoon from cloudy London today. My name is Bethana Hamed, and I am the recruitment manager at St. George's University School of Medicine. Ben is one of our valued partners, so thank you very much, Ben, for arranging this today. I really appreciate it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen and take you through some information about St. George's University. So we're all here today because you're all thinking of, well, sorry, just a second. Let me try and do that again. Lovely. So you are all here today because you are thinking about a future in medicine. And thank you very much for taking time out of your schedules to attend today's session. So in today's session, what I'd like to do is just to share some, general answers to some questions you may already have considering medicine for your future career. So I'm really here to talk to you about your future in medicine with St. George's University School of Medicine. So this is our campus, and this is our main campus, which we refer to as our true blue campus. And St. George's University was actually founded 45 years ago. And over the last 45 years, we've acquired just over 19,000 students as alumni from our School of Medicine. We're very much driven by diversity. This year, we have 103 different nationalities on campus. And as you can see, the campus itself is a gorgeous campus on the beautiful and sunny island of Grenada, the Caribbean. It is a purpose-built campus, and it is a state-of-the-art facility. As you can see, we have everything from student accommodation to our teaching facilities to a library. We also have a number of different outlets and restaurants. And in addition to that, we have a gym, outdoor recreation opportunities, and our own private beach. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move on. And I'd just like to take some time today just to answer some top questions that I think will have definitely crossed your mind. And if not, just some really important questions just to highlight, to talk about some of the competitive advantages of SGU. Now, what's really important to note is out of our 19,000 alumni, those are today licensed and practicing physicians in all 50 states in the United States, in Canada, in the UK, and in over 50 countries around the world. However, considering that, the vast majority of our students join us because they're thinking about becoming a future physician in the US. And as a result of that, if that is something that you are considering, one of the questions you will have is, will I get a US residency through SGU? And what's really important to note is that SGU is actually the #1 provider into first-year US residencies, and we have been for the last 12 years. So there isn't a medical school in the world, whether that be a US medical school or an international medical school, that sends the same number of international graduates as we do onto first-year US residency. Now, as percentage, over the last 3 years, 88% was the residency placement rate at time of graduation for eligible international graduates. And the number itself, in terms of number of residencies, for example, in 2021, it was 1,090 plus US residencies. In addition to that, there is no other medical school in the world that provides more new doctors into the US healthcare system as SGU does. So out of our 19,000 alumni, 11,627 today are licensed physician in the US, meaning there isn't a medical school in the world, whether that be a US or an international medical school, that has the same number of graduates that we do who are currently licensed in the US. So one of our biggest competitive advantages, without a doubt, is outcomes. And that is, in terms of, if we're considering here the US pathway, then if that is a dream for you, then the best chance of you making that dream a reality is with St. George's University School of Medicine. And one of the main reasons why we have the success we have, and why we've had the success that we've had for years, is because of the personalized support and guidance system that we offer at SGU. And we offer that through a number of different offices, but one of them is our Office of Career Guidance and Student Development. And basically that office includes a number of different advisors who will work with you on developing your own personalized residency strategy. So they will look at your overall profile, your strengths, your experience, your academic background, and they will make sure that you are applying to residencies that you highly qualify for and that you are the best match for. Another question that's really important, I think, for any future physician is considering clinical networks and how they will help in obtaining residencies. And this is where I want to talk to you about SGU's clinical network. So we have 70 plus hospitals, and that is across 2 different countries. So our clinical network is in the US and in the UK. And those, hospitals within our clinical networks are some of the top hospitals in the US and in the UK. For example, in the US, we are across 12 different states, including California, Los Angeles, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, and others. And in the UK, we are across 8 different locations, mainly in the south of England. Now, within each of our clinical networks, within each of those hospitals, you will have a director of medical education, you will have a clerkship director, you'll have clinical faculty, and you'll have medical education coordinators. And at SGU as a university and on campus, you will obviously have your Dean of Medicine, Dean of Clinical Training, assistant deans, department chairs, placement and clinical coordinators, and the Office of Career Guidance and Student Development. So each and every one of those faculty members are in place to ensure that you achieve your fullest potential. A third question that comes up when considering the US pathway, because in order to become a licensed physician in the US, you have to meet 2 criteria. The first one, which we spoke about, is that you have to complete a residency placement upon graduation, which we established that we are the #1 provider for US residency placement. And the second one is for you to pass your USMLEs, which are the United States Medical Licensing Exams, Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3. So a question you may have is, does my education at St. George's University prepare me for the USMLE? And the really important thing to take into account is that we have outstanding results when it comes to the USMLE. In fact, SGU students had a 94% first-time pass rate when it came to USMLE Step 1 in 2020. And that is on par with US medical schools based in the US. So really important competitive advantages to take into account. And what I'd like to do now is just to go through an overview of the program itself. What we offer is a US-style curriculum. So we are a premium education provider of a US-style curriculum. Our program is an MD degree, which is a medical doctor degree, which is a postgraduate course of study. And we offer the MD degree at a number of different entry levels, but obviously for your purpose, we will only discuss the 4- and the 5-year MD degree, as that is what will most likely be applicable to you as students. So we've got the 4-year MD degree, which basically any student who has completed a Bachelor's of Science in Biomedical Sciences or any related field would be eligible to apply to the 4-year MD degree. And then we've got the 5-year MD degree, and then any student who's completed A-levels, or for example, IB diploma, then those type of students would be eligible to apply to our 5-year MD degree. So I'll run through the 5-year MD degree as it covers both entry levels. So the 5-year MD degree, as an example, includes 1 year of preclinical sciences, followed by 2 years of basic sciences, and it ends with 2 years of clinical rotations. And you can see that below each year, there's either 1 flag or multiple flags represented. And what those flags represent are a possible location. And this is one of our biggest competitive advantages. You can see before I've even explained the program in depth, that the program itself covers a number of different flags, including the Grenadian flag, the UK flag, the Indian flag, the US flag, and the UK flag again. And basically, that is one of our biggest competitive advantages, in the sense with SGU, you can be subjected to a number of different medical healthcare systems before you've even graduated your MD degree. And that gives you a huge competitive advantage when you are applying to residency placements. And it really, really increases your overall profile. So if we take the 5-year MD as an example, you can see the preclinical sciences year can be done either on our main campus in Grenada or at our partner university in the UK. We have a partner university here in the UK, which is Northumbria University in the city of Newcastle. And we also have a partner university in India, which is Ramaya University in the city of Bangalore. What's really important to note is the program is an SGU program. So it's an SGU curriculum taught by SGU faculty, and it leads to the same SGU exceptional outcomes. So it is simply a different student experience. And this is something, again, that's really, really a huge competitive advantage for SGU, because for many of you, you might already be in the UK, you'll have formed a connection with the UK, and you might want to continue to be a UK student. For others, UK might be a bit closer to home, so you might want to actually start off in the UK before you move on. And that is one of the reasons as to why we offer the program in the way that we do. Now, for your second year, which is the basic sciences, you can see there are 2 flags represented, which means you can complete this year either on our main campus in Grenada or at our partner university in the UK, which is Northumbria University. For your third year, you can see there's only 1 flag represented, which means it is mandatory to complete this year on our main campus. And the reason we've made one of the years mandatory is because ultimately your degree is going to be an SGU degree. And we feel that it is really important for you to experience the SGU campus. to have a full, authentic experience as an SGU alumni. Obviously, it's a gorgeous campus. As I said, it's state of the art. It is purpose built. It is without a doubt one of the best experiences, as many of our current and alumni students will tell you. Once you've completed your preclinical and basic sciences, you will actually sit your USMLE Step 1, which is the United States Medical Licensing exam, before you move on to your last 2 years of clinical rotations. So with clinical rotations, you're still a student, you're still learning, but instead of learning on campus in lectures, laboratories, or small group settings, you are actually learning through clinical training at our affiliated hospitals, the 70+ hospitals that we had mentioned earlier on. So for your first year of clinical rotations, you will do 42 weeks of core rotations. So that's where you'll be subjected to a number of different specialities, such as surgery, pediatrics, OB/GYN, and psychiatry. And then during your last year, you will do 38 weeks, mainly of electives. So that's where you'll do some other specialities, for example, such as internal medicine, but you'll spend most of your time focusing on electives, sub-electives, and sub-internships during this year. And once you've completed your program, you graduate with an MD degree from St. George's University School of Medicine. And that's when you would obviously move on to one of 3 different pathways. So you would move on to the US pathway, which is the route to becoming a licensed physician in the US, or the UK pathway, which is the route to becoming a licensed physician in the UK, or a return pathway, which is the route to going back to your home country or the country that you reside in to practice medicine there. So just a bit of a recap in terms of location. As we mentioned, our main campus is in Grenada, the Caribbean. We have a partner university in the UK, which is Northumbria University, and we have a partner university in India, which is Ramaya University. And that's not to forget as well about our clinical network, which goes between the US, the UK, and the US, of course. Now, what's really important, as we said, in terms of what SGU has to offer you is a very global experience to your medical education. So you can do some of the years in Grenada, as we said, some at Northumbria, and then obviously with the clinical rotations between the US and the UK. And as I mentioned before, it's the same SGU curriculum, same SGU faculty, and the same SGU outcomes. So this big competitive advantage in terms of diversity of location really will help you to broaden your understanding of different cultures and to gain a cross-cultural medical practice. You'll have your clinical rotations in the US and or the UK, and obviously your international study will give you a huge competitive advantage when thinking about securing a top residency position. Another question that we get is, how will I be supported to succeed in my medical education? As we know, medicine is quite a complex degree, and obviously it is one that requires huge investment, and that is an investment in time, in terms of effort and time as well. What's really important to note about SGU is the support that we offer is a very personalized support and guidance system. And we do that across a number of different levels, and we do that through a number of different offices within the university. So we have the Career and Guidance Office that we spoke about for personalized residency strategies. We also have our Department of Educational Services, and we have a number of different international student support offices as well. But another factor to take into account is we offer quite a personalized approach to the education itself. So 75% of your classes and labs will be in a ratio of 8:1. So for every 8 students, there's 1 MD or professor. And that's a very, very personalized experience to have. And it's a really key focus for us, because for us, we are in place to ensure that you are able to achieve your fullest potential. Another factor that we do as well is, prior to you joining SGU, we will assign you to one of our 9 colleges within our School of Medicine. So every year we welcome just over 1,000 students. And instead of you being 1 out of 1,000, you become 1 out of 120 within your allocated college. And each of those colleges are their own learning communities. So you have your own dean, your own associate dean, your own faculty, and your own advisors. And within each of those colleges, this is where we'll have classes that focus on that small group learning. There will be a lot of focus on your own wellness and support, and a lot of focus on your own personal and professional development. So we have a dedicated support system that is entirely focused on your success. And that is really crucial to who we are at SGU. Just to give you a little bit of a background in terms of faculty, we are a premium education provider, and we are taught by a vast variety of international faculty. So we have just over 2,000 faculty members. 1,500 of them are actually clinical faculty, and those are the faculty members who will be overseeing your education throughout your last 2 years of study. So your clinical rotations within our hospital network. In addition to that, we have our faculty members on campus, and we have visiting faculty every single year. All of our professors are either MD or PhD or equivalent. One of the support services that I mentioned was the Department of Educational Services, and they are there to really support your success. And what they basically comprise of are 45 MDs who on a weekly basis will basically run 450 seminars, and each and every one of those seminars will be focused on skill development. And this is really, really crucial to becoming a successful physician. So they will do a number of different seminars, and they'll include things such as time management skills, study skills, test taking skills, note-taking skills, more efficient learning techniques, study group skills, and they'll also offer tutorials, and they'll also talk about specific workshops for faculty themselves. And this is all really crucial because as individuals, we're all very different. We have our different strengths, our different weaknesses, our different learning preferences. And as a result of that, the Department of Educational Services allow you the opportunity to have a learning assessment, which will basically enable you to understand how you learn best. And by understanding that, and by taking all these different seminars on a weekly basis, you will be looking at really growing your potential and ensuring that you are achieving your best potential. In addition to that, we also have our international offices and student support offices, and they focus on a number of different factors, including English language support where necessary for students. But most importantly, they offer the mentoring opportunities, and mentoring opportunities that are available to you as a student are crucial because as a first-year student, you get to be mentored by one of your peers who's in their second or third year. And then once you actually move on, if you excel during your first year, you can be given the opportunity to be a mentor yourself, which is really, really important for your own skill development. And it's a great opportunity for you to help in the development of your peers as well. A fifth question that we get as well is, where will SGU allow me to practice medicine? And this is a really important one. And as we said, over 45 years, we've acquired just over 19,000 alumni. And our SGU graduates are practicing in all 50 states in the United States, in Canada, in the UK, and in over 50 countries around the world. SGU is accredited by Grenada Medical and Dental Council and by the US Department of Education as well. Another question that we get, which is obviously outside of what goes on inside of lectures and labs and small group study centers, is what will my life be like at SGU? And this is a really, really important one, because I think with the level of support, and that's really the personalized support and guidance that is offered at SGU, you're really getting the benefits of quite a small institution, because it's very, very personalized approach to education. But in terms of the facilities themselves, as you can see, you're getting the benefit of a larger institution. You're getting state-of-the-art facilities, you're getting purpose-built facilities, you're getting facilities that, as we said, include student accommodation on campus. They include our own private beach. They include a shuttle bus that runs from 7 a.m. until 2 a.m. on campus and within a 5-mile radius of campus. They include a gym and a number of different outdoor recreation opportunities. They include a number of different outlets and also a number of different restaurants. So really high quality accommodation and facilities to support your life and to support your studies. In addition to that, as a community, there are a number of different clubs and organizations that are available to our students. There are about 65 different clubs that are available to students, and they range from, things such as, professional clubs, spiritual clubs, athletic clubs, a really wide variety, creative clubs. And that's really to ensure that all of different students' needs are fulfilled. So you can see, for example, in these images, you can see there's an SGU pediatrics club, there's a women in medicine club. You can see, there are some spiritual clubs here, and you can see, there are, also, again, cultural clubs that, help celebrate different different events that happen throughout the year. But in addition to that, we also have sport clubs that are available to students. So on campus, you can see that students, will be playing basketball, they'll be running marathons, they'll be really taking use of our gym facilities, they will be doing outdoor yoga classes, there'll also be like painting and drawing sessions. And in addition to that, a fun fact is that 80% of our students are scuba certified by the time they graduate SGU. So they really take advantage of that. And that is mainly because, the Caribbean is voted as one of the top 3 diving destinations around the world, and Grenada is voted as the top diving destination within the Caribbean. Number 7 is a good one, which hopefully, obviously, we can take back in the next couple of months. How can I see where I'll be studying medicine? Obviously, there are a number of different resources, let me just say this now, that are available on the website, including virtual tours. There are also a lot of different videos that are available on our social media that will tell you more about our main campus in Grenada, but also our partner university in the UK, if you haven't been to Northumbria as well. But, prior to COVID, we ran an initiative which we referred to as the SGU initiative. And the SGU initiative meant that we encouraged our offer holders to, fly to campus, to, take campus tours, to sit in lectures, to talk to current students, to talk to faculty, to really get the feel of what it would be like to be an SGU student, and to actually experience it themselves, and to actually have a face-to-face conversation with current students and faculty. And what we did to support our students is we reimbursed students who ultimately enrolled at SGU the cost of their visits. And we had around 200 students, per year visiting the campus in advance to actually enrolling at SGU. So a great initiative that we hope we'll be able to bring back next year, now that COVID is starting to blow away, thankfully. But, obviously, with everything and how, everything's gone quite virtual over the last 2 years, these opportunities are all available virtually, as I said, through virtual tours, through videos. And we also offer students the opportunity to connect with either current students or to connect with alumni students as well. And then we'll also run a number of different webinars as we approach our intake, in which those will be faculty specific webinars. So we'll have faculty members who will come on to give briefs about, the curriculum and what to expect when enrolling at SGU. And as we head towards the last few questions, one of the questions that we get is there financial aid? And this is a really important question in the sense that 75% of our entering four-year MD students, for example, have received some form of scholarship. We definitely try and support our students where possible. There are a number of different scholarships that are available to students. Some will be academic, some will be need-based, some will be Dean Awards, and so forth. So there are scholarship opportunities that are available. They are not guaranteed. However, as you can see from the really large percentage of students who are offered the scholarships, that we do try and support our students where possible. A ninth question that we get is, how can I apply? Obviously, you do that by reaching out to our partner, which is Ben at Medical Doorway. Ben will help you with the application process, and they will, he will give you all the necessary information. He will collect all of the necessary documents, and we can then move on to start processing your application. And as Ben said, we do try to keep a quick turnaround. So as long as all of the required documents are provided, what happens is that your application is reviewed by our faculty committee, who will make a decision as to whether or not you will be granted an interview. So if you are successful, you're granted a virtual interview, which upon completion, you go into a final review for a final decision as to whether or not you would be accepted onto the program. So we do try and keep the process as smooth as possible for students, as long as all documentation has been provided when submitting the application. And the final question is a question that's really important to ask yourselves. Why is SGU the place to start my medical career? And this is where we're going to talk about a number of different facts. And the first one being, I'll start with the bottom one because I like to start with the facilities themselves. As we said, there are state-of-the-art teaching facilities, state-of-the-art accommodation, and state-of-the-art purpose-built and gorgeous, opportunities for you within your student life experience. Now, in terms of academics, what are our competitive advantages? The focus, without a doubt, is on, first of all, our exceptional rates when it comes to residency placements. The fact that we are the #1 provider into first-year US residency placements, and we have been for the last 12 years. This is really crucial for anyone who is considering a future career in the US, because this is basically a really, really important part of being able to achieve that successfully. The second factor, which is really important, which is our clinical network, and this without a doubt is a huge competitive advantage of ours. Our clinical networks includes 70+ leading US and UK hospitals. Another fact is the support and guidance that is offered at SGU. The fact that 70% of your education is through small class and small group experiences, and yet you get the benefits of a larger school through the facilities themselves. And without a doubt, it is the curriculum and academic support that leads to the outstanding USMLE results that we had also mentioned, which are crucial, again, for the US pathway if you are considering that. This gives you a little bit of a listing of SGU graduates and the fact that they have practiced at all US News and World Report's top US hospitals. So as you can see from the hospitals listed, these are top hospitals in the US, and these are hospitals that SGU alum are practicing or have practiced in. So in terms of our alumni network, an SGU alumni network of doctors in all specialities who have successful careers, not only in all 50 states in the United States and Canada and the UK, but as we said, all around the world in over 50 countries around the world. And I'm just going to leave you with a testimonial from one of our UK students as well, who just talks a little bit about his own SGU experience and how SGU itself in terms of education has helped him to achieve what he has achieved today and where he is today. So yeah, without a doubt, an outstanding educational experience that will get you to your goal of becoming a practicing physician. And that's all from me. I've kept it short just to make sure that we cover some questions that I thought you might have. So I hope I've answered some of the questions, but obviously we have a Q&A session to answer any specific questions you may have. Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Ben. I say everyone, this is actually a short lunchtime webinar. We are planning a bigger webinar, which will kind of take place in next month, which is something which we'll publish actively as well and share it via the email forums. That will actually involve students, etc., undergraduates potentially as well, towards the end of April. But and that will be at a different time of day to make sure we spread it around for different people from different time zones. Okay, so what I'm going to say now, for those people are with us, we're going to keep you for about another 15 minutes or so, because as it is a lunchtime session, we all need time to eat. So there are some questions already. If you've got any additional questions, do pop them into the Q&A feature. Just deal with a couple of the simple ones. Someone's asked about financial aid. I was really happy that Bethana sent me an email this morning or late last night. I can't remember now because one day is moving into the next at the moment. One of our applicants from Thailand has just received a $30,000 scholarship. So there are multiple different financial aid or scholarship packages available. What tends to happen is once you've had your interview and had your offer, you fill in the forms to apply for those scholarships, and then you will receive a decision back on the kinds of scholarships which are going to be available and what that financial aid will be. And it varies from one student to the other. So there are definitely aid packages available, scholarships available to help bring down the cost of studying at medical school. Someone asked about the presentation. This presentation is going live on YouTube now, and the recording will automatically be there. As I said, we'll have a longer presentation end of next month. And someone's asked about the course cost if I live in the UK. Now, the way this works, and Bethana will be able to give you more detail on this, is that most universities that we know in the UK or in Europe, for example, they have a set fee per year. In the US, and effectively SGU is a US style curriculum, it doesn't work in that particular way. The fees depend on the credit hours in any given year. So the fees will vary a little, well, can vary significantly from one year to the next. If you're in the 5-year program in the UK, I think the first year comes in at around about £25,000 or something like that, Bethana. Is that correct? Yeah?
Yeah, so it's it's just over like 32,000 US dollars for the first year. Yes.
Yeah, but then it will jump up when you go into the clinical period, clinical part of the program, because they are more expensive to teach those aspects of the program, because there's various additional costs which the hospitals have to be reimbursed for as well. So what we'll do is once you've made the application, and then you've got the scholarship decision, you'll have then an idea of exactly how much you're going to pay per year. But it will vary from Bethana said, from say $35,000 for say the year one at Northumbria. In some of the years, it can be in excess of $68,000. These are all pre-scholarship prices though, and the scholarships can be substantial, which can reduce that depending on your financial need or academic potential. So go straight into some of the other questions. Grades required A level. Now, if you want the 5-year program, you need to have 3 STEM subjects at A level. Most common is biology, chemistry, and maths. That then allows you to apply for the 5-year program. And the enrollment in the Northumbria program is towards the end of September 2022. You will have an interview. The interview is the same regardless of whether you start the program in Grenada or whether you start the program in the UK. What differs then is the institution that you study at for that first 1 or 2 years, depending on the programs that you're going on, okay? I'll show everyone how to do the application very quick on the Medical Doorway website soon as well. The reason I'm going quickly is that we did want to make this about 45 minutes, and I want to make sure we don't go too much over. Can we choose our campus for years 1 and 2? We are UK citizens based in London and can be based in Northumbria for years 1 and 2. If you're doing the 5-year program, then you can spend years 1 and 2 of the 5-year program in Northumbria. If you're on the 4-year program, only the first year of that program is at Northumbria. So the second year of the 4-year program or the 3rd year of the 5-year pathway are always at that beautiful campus in Grenada. And just to like make everyone reassured, coming from Britain, there are actually direct flights from London Gatwick to Grenada. At certain times of the year, they stop off at St. Lucia on the way, but it's a direct flight. You don't get off the aircraft. So the flight is with British Airways into St. Lucia, then it pops down to Grenada to drop everyone off there. So you can actually fly direct from the UK. The other things as well, there's no kind of visa requirement for Grenada. It's an island in the Caribbean. You ain't going anywhere unless you're swimming or taking a boat. So effectively, you will have an offer letter from the institution. And when you get to immigration in Grenada, you hand that letter over and they stamp your passport for the time that you need to study in the Caribbean, okay? Which is one of the useful things compared to some other countries where it can take months to get visas. Someone said, I joined a little late. If it's a US-based curriculum, is it recognized by the GMC? Do we need to do IELTS and MLE after that? What you mean is MLA, Medical Licensing Assessment. Everyone from 2024 onwards will be taking the medical licensing assessment exams, even if you went to a British medical school. The program has many graduates working across the UK. In fact, one of our webinars that we did in the last academic year, we had one of the pediatric registrars at Birmingham, who is a British and American citizen, but a dual citizen, and he's now working as a specialist registrar at Birmingham's Children's Hospital. So the program at St. George's is one of the only programs which does give you a gateway into many different healthcare systems around the world. If you are very focused on the United States, you can't really get anywhere better. But alternatively, if you wanted the option of going to the US or the UK, SGU is one of the only universities that gives you clinical experiences in both places. So you, as well as having the ability to be licensed in the UK and the USA, as Bethana said in the presentation, you will actually have clinical experience in both of those locations, which gives you that breadth of career opportunities, which perhaps you wouldn't get in many other medical schools. Okay, so I think that's dealt with the main questions there. Bethana, is there anything you want to add to that while people who've got a few more questions want to fill in the last 4 minutes that we have allocated for today?
Yeah, I'll just say that, for many of you, you might know exactly where you want to be in 5 years' time or 4 years' time. For some of you, you might be open to opportunities, and for others, and what tends to be the case is you might come onto the program with a certain mindset, and having, being exposed to such an international experience, what tends to happen is students become more open to opportunities. So you might come into the program thinking, do you know what? I definitely want to practice in the US and nowhere else, or I want to practice in the UK and nowhere else. But what tends to happen sometimes is students might become open to opportunities. And I think that is one of the great things about SGU. Our US pathway, without a doubt, in terms of success, speaks for itself. We have a very strong established UK pathway. You have a number of different alumni who are successful physicians here in the UK. Our clinical network in the UK is actually with some of the strongest hospitals across the UK. So it's a great opportunity whether you choose to do part of the program at Northumbria, so you have that fantastic student experience, or whether you want to actually do the latter part of the program in terms of clinical rotations in the UK. Or for a lot of students who might be open to both, the best thing you can do is do a year in the US, a year in the UK. You get the best of both worlds. You get to experience, the US, which is more directed towards private medical healthcare, and then you've got the UK, which is obviously public with the NHS, and you get to experience both worlds, and it really gives you a huge competitive advantage when you are going for residency placements.
I just want to deal with the last question, then show everyone how to apply, and I'm going to kind of link the next section to this question that's come in. Someone's asked about closing date for 2022 entry. My advice is this: when you apply with Medical Doorway to St. George's University, it's 100% free of charge. We get an exemption from the application fee to the university. So don't think, especially with the way UK medical school applications are this year, 7,100 seats available in England this year, just over, and there's coming up to 30,000 UCAS applicants in. So it's never been as competitive to get into medical school than it is this year. That means you can actually submit the application for SGU now. It's risk-free, it's free of charge. Because by the time we get the documents in, by the time we get your interview arranged, a few weeks will have passed. Therefore, the earlier we do that, the better. And ultimately, you could have an offer you're not committed to anything. It's a powerful position to be able to say no to an offer rather than have to scramble around at the last minute, hoping that we can secure you a seat. Because bear in mind, why there is not so much capacity issues at the Caribbean campus, because of its just vast size, Northumbria does have capacity issues because obviously it's a single satellite campus in Newcastle. So the earlier we do the application, the better. And to make the application, I'm going to share my screen with you right now. If I can just pull this up. There we go. Right, let me kill that first and share, and there we are. Right, so this is the Medical Doorway website, everyone. If you're thinking about making an application, it is so quick to do it. There's two major ways that you can do the application. Here's the way that I advise, so you do it in a bit more of an informed way before we deal with the last question that's just come in. If you click on universities, and you will find St. George's University, Grenada here. There we go. You'll see information on the university here, little video down here as well, which is a great video. And then there's a blue button here saying application form. Click on that, and then you can simply fill this application form in. It will take no more than 10 minutes and upload a copy of your passport. I or one of my team will then reach out to you to get the documentation that we then need to complete the application and then get you shortlisted for interview. And then once you have been shortlisted for interview, you will receive an email directly from head office over in New York, and they will then ask you to reach out on email to your designated interviewer. This is the thing with this university. It wants you to be an adult. So rather than spoon feeding you an interview date, it gives you the ability to negotiate the date with your examiner, okay, with your interviewer, and then you can have the interview. And then usually around about a week to 2 weeks after the interview, a decision will come back. In that decision, you will have the opportunity at that point to apply for the bursaries. Okay, all right. Two more questions, then we're going to sign off, guys, because we didn't want to try and keep it to 45 minutes. Okay, cost for Indian student for medical study. There's no difference in terms of the costs, although you can start the first year, depending on what part of the program in India. And yes, the program is recognized in India by the Medical Council of India, because actually, the actual university have met with the Medical Council of India on more than one occasion, I believe, as well.
Yes, we have very strong links in India. As you know, one of our partner universities is in India as well. Just to answer as well, I think there was a question about entry level for students from India. So if you are coming in from India, then you'd be looking at the 5-year entry level as well. So when you do contact Medical Doorway in the application, do put the 5-year MD degree. Yes. And then, as Ben discussed, the cost is the same regardless of nationality, regardless of location. And we can obviously look into the cost for you specifically once we go through the application process and you've been accepted and we apply for scholarship opportunities.
Okay, so and the last question I want to go on. Oh, by the way, for that one person said they did their A-levels in 2021, which is many students. It's not a problem if you did your A-levels in 2021, 2022, unlike UCAS applications where it can be an issue. Last question that we'll deal with before we sign off for today. It says, can we say we apply at SGU for US residency for UK citizens? Are you able to arrange the visa? The answer is yes, because the university has an entire team dealing with migration to the US for the clinical placements for non-US or Canadian citizens. So that's not something you have to be concerned about. If you want to do that year in the United States or even 2 years in the United States, you can, and the university's team are there to arrange it. SGU is one of the only institutions which has a team that manage your progression towards your career as you go through the degree. So if you are, say, a British citizen thinking about going to work in the United States, obviously you're not as prioritized for jobs in the US compared to US citizens, just like US citizens wouldn't be in the UK. However, there are ways that the university works with you to ensure that you are going to maximize your chances of getting the rotation that you want. Obviously, some states like Boston, New York, California are more competitive for residency seats than perhaps other states like, for example, Texas or some of the Midwest, where actually there may be other opportunities available to you that perhaps you wouldn't have thought about if you were thinking about the usual states, in California or this side of the Mississippi. So we have just slightly run over. I wanted to make this a 45-minute presentation today because it's a lunchtime session. We are going to have additional sessions throughout the year with Bethesda and other members. In fact, one of our most popular sessions last year was with one of our colleagues from the Northumbria campus. We will be doing that again, perhaps more towards the publishing of A-level results in August. So do keep an eye out on the YouTube channel. Thank you for those people that joined us today, and on Facebook, as well as the emails that we send out to everyone who's on our newsletter. Keep an eye out for those presentations as well. Our next webinar is with Charles, First Faculty in Prague next week with Professor Brisman. So do keep an eye out for all those different presentations. Get your information, do your research, and when you're ready to make the applications, as you say, you can do that directly on the Medical Doorway website. Very efficient, and it all comes through to myself or one of our members of the team, either here or our remote locations around the world. I'm going to say thank you, everyone. We've dealt with all the questions. Again, thank you for your time, Bethany. It's always a pleasure. Looking forward to meeting up again in London and at this potential visit to the Northumbria campus in May. Okay?
Looking forward to it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ben.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.